to the day since that first death from COVID-19 was reported in China. Well, since then, the virus has spread exponentially across the globe, and as it's grown, so too our knowledge of the infection. To get the latest insights on that, we can speak to a virologist from Lancaster University, Dr. Muhammad Munir. Dr. Munir, thank you for your time. Now, for you specialise in studying viruses like this one, looking at how they develop when it comes to COVID-19. It does seem that week by week we're learning more about just how contagious, just how dangerous it is. We're now being told even that it can be transmitted just by talking to someone. What's the latest you can tell us about how we catch it, how risky it is to go to the shops, for example?
Yes, this is really important to understand that this virus come up with many surprises. And one of the surprises has been the contagiousness and transmission through the contaminated surfaces, through fomite, and now, as you hinted, it is spreading even people when they are talking and breathing in a normal situation. And the complexity is even more that people who are infected, they might be not showing any clinical sign. So apparently they are healthy, but they are asymptomatic carrier of this infection. So the chances for anyone to spread the infection is significantly higher than many other diseases we have seen recently, because people, if they don't know they are infected, they are behaving in a normal circumstances otherwise. But the really question here now lies about the safety, because what we are doing at this moment is to interfere with the transmission of the virus. And as most of us in the Europe are under lockdown at some scale, the only thing that we go out really is is for grocery and shopping reasons. And now it is really important that you understand how the virus spread from the surfaces, for how long the virus stay in the environment, so that the grocery and the shopping can be ensured safe. And if we do so, that is the way forward.
Now, you mentioned the asymptomatic cases, and it seems like there could be quite a high percentage of the population with asymptomatic COVID-19. Given that this idea of testing for the virus seems to be very important, and in a lot of countries that have put in wide-scale testing, we're seeing different figures. Your university was looking at a rapid test for COVID-19 using our smartphones and getting results maybe in half an hour. Where are we on that test, and how important do you think it is?
Oh, absolutely. Since we don't have vaccine and therapeutics, the only way we can beat this contagion is to limit the spread, have a less burden onto healthcare system, and to protect our vulnerable communities. And that required massive scale of testing so that we can identify who is in the community positive for the coronavirus, so that we can apply isolation. By that way, you're not protecting the people who are in vulnerable communities in your household or in your vicinity, but at the same time you are limiting the spread of the infection. So therefore testing is absolutely important. There are different approaches. Those have been proposed and applied. One of them is the Abbott one. Our device, we call it a smart device. What it does, it takes the sample from the nasal cavity and then put into the machine. After 30 minutes, it run over and will tell you on your mobile phone whether you got coronavirus or not. So we have done an enormous amount of work already onto that. It is on the mass scale production. So within 2 weeks, we will be launching it officially, and hopefully that would help not only the British testing capabilities, but also across the world to really control this contagion.
Indeed, it would help isolate people who are testing positive for this virus when I imagine they would be most contagious. And also, I guess it would help show which of us, maybe perhaps in another test in the future, develop antibodies for this COVID-19. The race on to get a test for that. Normally, I believe after a cold, which is a form of coronavirus, we're immune for around 3 months, the seasonal flu about a year. Do we have any idea about the immunity of this COVID-19, where it leaves people?
This is really important question at this moment. We don't precisely know for how long the immunity would remain for this coronavirus, because we are only in 3.5 months or 4 months down into this pandemic. So we didn't have enough time to study. However, studies have been conducted in animals to demonstrate that the reinfection is possible or not. So if someone is infected and recovered and have a very good antibody titer in the blood, they're less likely to be reinfected in a short time. But for how long is not precisely known. Based on the SARS studies, which is another coronavirus caused pandemic back in 2002 and 2003, in those SARS coronaviruses, they the immunity could last as long as 3 years. So there are anticipation that the immunity for this coronavirus would be that long, but at least it will protect for a couple of months, if not longer than that.
Indeed, hopefully until the time when we have found that very vital treatment for this illness. Lots of different avenues being looked at, one of them being using the plasma from survivors of COVID-19. Where do you think we are in developing or moving towards that treatment?
This is again very important area to touch upon, and I have written about this one right from the first week of February, that this is a peak time to really start making a convalescent sera biobanks, because the good thing with this coronavirus is that a fair proportion of people are recovering very well. So we can collect blood from those volunteer people and then use that one to treat the people who are critically sick or vulnerable or working at the front line by the time we don't have treatment. And if one person donate the blood, that is sufficient enough to treat 4 people. So different government organizations, they have started ramping up these capabilities. United States has been really well ahead, and FDA has given approval to use convalescent sera outside the clinical trial in the front line or critical people. And here in the UK, we also already started collecting that and making a bank that can be exploited in the cases where it is needed. But this is certainly something that should be put an emphasis a lot more than it has been done so far, because this is a proven strategy to treat the people who have been sick, for example, in MERS, in SARS, in Ebola, HIV, and Spanish flu. So this is a proven technology, can be exploited and should be exploited.
Okay, Dr. Muhammad Munir, thanks so much for giving us your professional analysis of the latest developments when it comes to research and treatment of this COVID-19. Going to have to leave it there. That was Dr. Muhammad Munir from Lancaster University. Well, that's where we're going to have to leave it for this edition. That's it from me for now. Do take care.